Now, the world's largest economies have defied Donald Trump by agreeing to a leaders' declaration at the G20, a unified plan that places strong emphasis on accelerating global climate action. Our political reporter, Ruben Spargo, is following the Prime Minister in Johannesburg and filed this report for us.
This year's G20 summit became the stage for a remarkable rebuke of the world's most powerful nation and its president, who's stepping back from multilateral cooperation. One by one, the leaders of major economies, representing 85% of global GDP and 2/3 of the world's population, rejected Donald Trump's view of the world. The president led a US boycott of the summit, citing widely disputed claims that the host government is persecuting white South African farmers. It threatened to derail any broad G20 agreement until South Africa's president announced an overwhelming consensus in favour of adopting a summit declaration. The communiqué emphasises the urgency of climate change and calls for intensified global efforts to reach net zero emissions by 2050, language Washington has strongly opposed.
It's a very positive sign that the world wants to get on with cooperating, and it's a very positive statement going forward.
Prime Minister, you speak about making decisions in the national interest. How do you anticipate this decision will affect Australia's strategic relationship with the US and broader national interests?
There's nothing unusual about supporting free and fair trade. That's what Australian governments have done on a bipartisan basis. And before recent times, action to achieve net zero was a bipartisan position in Australia as well.
The climate debate is once again growing at home. The opposition is promising to abandon net zero targets and scrap green energy incentives, arguing that lowering energy costs should take priority.
Our position's the same today as it was yesterday. The cheapest form of new energy is renewables. That needs to be backed up by gas, as firming capacity, by batteries and by hydro.
South Africa will now hand over leadership of the G20 to the next host, the United States and Donald Trump, who will have the power to set the agenda.
Go ahead.
As a follow-up,
yes.
The Washington Post just reported that the Coast Guard has.
I'm calling on Bloomberg. Go ahead.
Caroline,
thank you.
thank you. 2 questions for you. The New York Times is reporting that the administration is now sending a U.S. official to the G20. They are sending Mark Dillard. Can you confirm if that is true, and then also explain the shift in?
I'd be happy to explain, because there is not a shift. The United States is not participating in official talks at the G20 in South Africa. I saw the South African president running his mouth a little bit against the United States and the president of the United States earlier today, and that language is not appreciated by the president or his team. The ambassador, or the representative of the embassy in South Africa, is simply there to recognize that the United States will be the host of the G20. They are receiving that send-off at the end of the event. They are not there to participate in official talks, despite what the South African president is falsely claiming.
On Ukraine, there have been reports that President Zelensky said, he's looking to look at the plan. That there's been reports about the Trump administration proposing a plan. Can you just give an update on where Russia-Ukraine stands, and does the president plan to speak with Zelensky anytime soon, or when can you expect
So I'm happy to provide an update. I've seen quite a bit of reporting on the latest with Russia, Ukraine. So let me clarify and give you guys the truth on where it currently stands. President Trump has made it very clear since day one, and even on the campaign trail, that he wants to see this war come to an end. He has grown increasingly frustrated with both sides of this war, Russia and Ukraine alike, for their refusal to commit to a peace agreement. But nevertheless, the president and his national security team are steadfast in seeing this war come to an end, to end the killing and deliver on the president's promise. Special Envoy Witkoff, that Marco Rubio, have been working on a plan quietly for about the last month. They've been engaging with both sides, Russia and Ukraine, equally to understand what these countries would commit to in order to see a lasting and durable peace. That's how you get to a peace negotiation, right? That's how it worked with Israel, with respect to Israel and Gaza and all of the Arab countries in the Middle East. That's how we accomplished that historic agreement, which the UN, by the way, voted to commit to and accept this week, which was a huge monumental moment. So they have been engaged with both sides, and these talks are continuing. As always, I'm not going to litigate the details of this plan as it's ongoing and it's in flux, but the president supports this plan. It's a good plan for both Russia and Ukraine, and we believe that it should be acceptable to both sides, and we're working very hard to get it done. And I'll also add, I know Secretary Driscoll did meet with President Zelensky today. We spoke with him. He was very optimistic following that meeting. And so again, we are having good conversations with both sides with respect to ending this war.
Donald Trump is suggesting there's been some progress to finalising a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. His special envoy, Steve Witkoff, is expected to visit Moscow next week. Doug Luzada has the details.
President Trump says there are still a few points of disagreement, standard things, he says, but he's optimistic that he is closing in on a deal. Daylight showing the extent of one of the latest waves of Russian airstrikes on Ukraine. I would like us to finally get some help, some protection, this woman said.
We won't know for a little while, but we're making progress.
President Trump speaking with reporters on his way to Florida last night, saying peace talks have made some headway. Envoys will be meeting with leaders of Ukraine and Russia in the days ahead. And the president made it clear Ukraine will have to make some concessions.
So eventually that's land that over the next couple of months might be gotten by Russia anyway. So do you want to fight and lose another 50, 60,000 people? Or do you want to do something now?
Critics say the administration is favoring Russia.
What we've seen the Trump administration do time and time again is throw the Ukrainian people under the bus and side with Vladimir Putin.
But Ukraine has apparently won some concessions of its own in closed-door talks.
I'm ready to meet with President Trump, and there are sensitive points to discuss.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he's open to a deal. For his part, President Trump says it's not yet time for a face-to-face meeting, but his Thanksgiving deadline for a deal is clearly off now.
I don't have a deadline. You know what the deadline for me is? When it's over.
As for concessions from Russia, the president says Putin will have to stop fighting and stop taking Ukrainian land.